Speaker is Benjamin Leigh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. For the record, I'm Benjamin Leigh, counsel to Loudoun Investment Group, the owner of a unit and its rights in the common elements in the Beaumeade Technology Campus and all appurtenances thereunto belonging. This is not a dispute about beliefs. This is about the rule of law and the incompatibility of a use where it can't meet objective, neutral parking criteria. Loudoun doesn't have any dispute with the Adams Center from their belief-based, and we applaud all the accolades that we've heard today. But we've got to enforce the zoning ordinance. We've got to look at the reality of what has happened. And Mr. Shield, you hit it on the head earlier on an earlier application. Why do we have rules if we're going to break them? Let's be very clear. This application is going to adversely impact vested rights under an approved site plan, under occupancy permits for all these businesses, and what staff has said, but said very gently, is this business park has 800 parking space uses worth of approved businesses and uses, and we only have 400 spots. Do we need to say that again? And we're going to make this worse with this application. I think that there is a serious issue that staff has still not addressed and that the applicant has still not addressed on double counting. It is not legal to double count parking spots in a zoning regime. The applicant is still worshiping in the Beth Havram Unit 100. Now they're proposing an additional bunch of people in another unit. That is going to exacerbate an existing zoning violation for a number of businesses. This park's underparked. I don't think this Planning Commission, I've never seen applications like this. When I've proposed uses where we're going to have off-site parking, it's mandatory. It's in the zoning ordinance. It's mandatory. You need a recorded covenant or a recorded lease. I think it is also confiscatory if you think that a set number of parking spaces can be allocated to one user to the detriment of other existing users who have all of their approvals for by right uses. One owner in this business park has had such a bad problem that they've rented a bus and parked it sideways across 8 spaces on Fridays. Staff and the zoning compliance review folks haven't been able to see that. I think there's a significant problem with the original Beth Havram application and its approvals, but that's not before you tonight. I think this applicant has a lot more work to do. I think that the Planning Commission should ask these questions about all of these uses. The church across the street, God bless them, they are trying to help, but they have zoning entitlements that need to be adhered to. They are not proposing as part of this application to give up any of their required parking. The county has already used some of this parking for its commuter parking lot. When this issue first came up, we asked the county to try to work on it and use the commuter parking lot, and the county flatly refused because those spaces are allocated. So what do? I think the minimum you do is you tell this applicant to keep working. You ask the applicant to keep working. You ask staff to ask the questions a little bit more. And I guess the one last thing I'll say is there have been plenty of complaints made. I'd like to enter into the record the association of an adjacent condominium that has had repeated trespass problems. And I don't understand how county zoning inspection enforcement staff has missed this issue. This association has communicated to the county before. So the record needs to be clear This has not been working out. Over the past several years, the Adams Center has been worshiping in a synagogue. Now, the Beth Havram application, they are not giving up their rights.
Mr. Leigh, if you could finish up your speech.
I sure could. I think, again, that's an issue of, that's a legal question of how are we going to illegally double count parking and allocate it away from lawfully existing uses. I'd like to enter this into the record, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Please provide that to Nancy at the end. Thank you for your comments.